Alright, I think we're online. So, hello again everyone. I don't know if any of you watched the first video, obviously Tyler was there, but this is sort of like it's supposed to be a prelude to the first video. This will just show you how to install the stuff you need if you wanted to either follow along or just look at the code that we write when we go through the sessions. In the description of this video will be links to everything, all the web pages that you can download stuff from, and there'll also be a link down there that will be to a website called GitHub. It's a place where people can post and maintain code as a collaborative effort. And from that page, you will be able to download the code that we work on each week. Hopefully the audio will be okay on this. I've got most of the fans off in my room. If I turn them all off, it gets extremely warm in here extremely quickly. So I don't want to roast to death while I'm doing this. So, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to install the Java development kit. Now, this is a little bit different from the Java that is normally nagging you to death to update on your computer. The one that's always nagging you to death to update is the Java runtime environment. This just makes it so things like Minecraft, simple web applets, etc., can run on your computer. It would be more for if you had created a program and compiled it all together and then wanted to run it on somebody else's computer. They don't need to have all of the software tools used to create the program to run it. They just need the runtime environment. But for our purposes, we need the development kit. We need all of the tools that are provided by the Java Foundation to create our programs. And without them, not only will Eclipse get upset with you, but Eclipse half the time won't even run if you don't have it installed. So let's do that first. Now, for this demonstration, which the recording window for Bandicam is right in the way. For this demonstration, I won't be installing the JDK on my computer. I'll show you where to download it from and how to download it, because it's a little bit different from a normal download. But I won't run through the install with you, simply because it's like any other application install on any other computer. You just walk through it step by step. I don't think there's a reboot afterwards. I don't remember there being one. And really, there isn't really any reason to. But the process is fairly straightforward, at least for that. When we do install Eclipse, which will be later in this video, I'm going to walk you through step by step on doing that, simply because my Eclipse environment, I'm fairly certain, needs a major version upgrade. So I'm going to do that alongside you guys and show you what the installer looks like, etc. I am not going to make you sit here and watch as I download stuff and etc. But I will explicitly say you can pause the video here and wait for however long it takes for you to download and install X in order to deal with what we got to deal with. So the easiest thing to do, unless you use the links down below in the description, is just type download JDK, and this current version is 8. Later, thanks Google, but no thanks. So you'll end up getting presented with a page like this. Usually the easiest thing to do is to use the kit that's closest to the top. Usually the kit that's further to the bottom may not be ready for full release yet, or may have a couple of problems, or maybe even missing some of the options. Like, you can clearly see that there was a build for the Java development kit for ARM-based Linux machines in this here, but down here there isn't one. So it's always best just to use the one towards the top. In terms of which package you should choose, for Windows users, Usually it's this one right here. My pulse click stuff should still be on in Bandicam, so you should be able to see where I'm clicking. For the most part, that's what you're going to be using. That's the 64-bit version. Computers since gosh, it's been years now. I think since 2005 have pretty much consistently been coming out with 64-bit capable processors and operating systems. So the likelihood that you have a computer that is not 64-bit capable is extremely small. So usually it's best to download that version for Windows x64. If you suspect that you have a 32-bit computer, you can, if it's an older computer, if you're unsure, you can always ask me, and I can help sort that out with you. For Mac OS X, there's only one download because Oracle didn't start supporting Mac OS X until after Apple did the switch over to 64-bit, so there's only one option there. If you're running on Linux, particularly if you're running on a Raspberry Pi or something, for whatever reason, if you know what that is, your best bet is going to be to talk to me. There is a different process. Both the Mac OS X and the Windows versions of Java have installers that come with them. The Linux version does not. So we would have to sit down with your computer and deal with that step by step, because it is a bit more involved than what I'm going to try to explain in this video, because I simply don't assume that any of you are running a machine with Linux on it. But if you are, let me know. Before you download anything, you have to click Accept License Agreement. You'll see, thank you for accepting the Oracle Binary Code License Agreement for Java SE, blah, 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 blah. And now you can click any of these links, whichever one you need, in order to make things work. So at this point in the video, I'm not going to sit here and download the entire Java JDK because I already have it installed. But once you click the link, the window doesn't really change other than your download will start. And once that's finished, open it up and just run the installer. And once that's done, come back and continue the video with me. Now, the next step is, after all is said and done, is to make sure that everything installed correctly. Probably the easiest way to do that, which is going to be a little difficult for me, I'm actually going to pause the video again real quick for a second, is to open either the command prompt or the terminal. Command prompt on Windows, terminal on Linux and Mac. There, so I've got my command prompt open. You can see the easiest way to check is to just type Java -version and then push enter. If you see something very similar to this, then you should be good. And that's basically all there is to it in that aspect. Now, the next thing that we're going to download is we are going to download Eclipse. So when you search Eclipse, it will show up right in Google. For the most part, when you get to the Eclipse homepage, the downloads homepage, anyways, you'll see a button called Get Eclipse Neon. It is it's sort of like the installer package for Eclipse. And what you do is when you click that link, it will automatically bring you to the correct installer for your machine. The Eclipse website is intelligent. It checks to see, what operating system you're running, whether you're 32-bit or 64-bit, and it will make sure that you get what you need correctly. So I am going to download this just for sake of my own sanity, and I'm not going to make you guys sit here and watch me download this. It's going to take a while for whatever reason. I think it's the mirror that I'm using. I'll be back in however long that takes. Okay, so I'm back. I jumped to the IBM Blueminx page, which is probably what I'll link to you guys, or I'll do something cheeky down below and in the comments, and I'll list out what goes where and how to get to the Blueminx page for the download, because it's significantly faster because it's hosted by IBM, not the Eclipse Foundation. So, what we're going to do now is we're going to open the Eclipse installer and see what it looks like. Which it does take a second. It's based on Java, so it's kind of clunky, but it does work. So, this is what you'll be presented with when you start. And at the very top should be Eclipse IDE for Java developers. If you look, I'm actually hovering over it right now. You can see because it's got a deep blue outline behind it. Oh, excuse me. This is the one that we want. If ever you are interested in learning another language, Eclipse is a plugin-based development environment, so you can install support for whatever language you want as long as you can find it in the Eclipse plugins manager, which we'll actually be going over in another video when it comes time to talk to you guys about how to write robot code in Eclipse. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on that. You'll be presented with a screen that asks you where you want Eclipse to be installed. In this case, I'm just going to install it right alongside my... This version of Eclipse is called Neon. My current version is Mars 2. But I'm just going to install Neon right alongside my Eclipse Mars installation, just for sake of ease, and I'll go in later and clean up whatever else I need to. So once you click install, it will download the extra pieces that it needs, if any, depending on where you downloaded the installer from. There could be more in the installer, there could be less. For the most part, the installer is fairly compact. It doesn't have everything that it needs. Eclipse is a fairly large program. I think it comes to be about 250 megabytes. In comparison to other development environments, that's probably twice the average size. And you might see little errors like artifact download is progressing very slowly from download.eclipse.org. You might see the little spinny loading bar thing slow down a little bit. This is because the installer is written in Java. It's not really... It works, but well, we won't get into the discrepancies of issues with the Java graphics environment. But needless to say, just let it finish. It will let you know, and I'll come back into the video when I'm all done downloading the pieces that I need. As you can see, it's already ticking right along here. So I'm gonna pause for just a second and let it finish. Okay, so I'm back. It took like half an hour of watching YouTube videos and like an hour and a half of playing Left 4 Dead 2 for me to get through this. So now that we're finally all done, we can go ahead and launch and see what Eclipse Neon looks like. You definitely want to hit the launch button at least once after you finish the installation, just to make sure everything went correctly. Oh, I like that splash screen. Much better than the Mars one. I have to change my workspace because this is not my workspace. My workspace is kept in my Dropbox. For you, it's fine to keep it where it is. Just as a little side note about Eclipse, Eclipse creates workspaces for you to keep projects in. I call my workspace Fresh Workspace, and I keep it in my Dropbox so that it's always synced up with all my computers. For you, the default location, which is in C, users, your username, and then workspace. Or for Mac, it is root user, your username, and then workspace, if I remember correctly. It might go into documents. I can't actually remember. But for you, just go ahead and use the default. It doesn't really require any sort of extra effort if you use the default for the moment. You won't see this. My workspace is out of date because this is a new version. I have to push OK to get this to go away. Well, it upgrades my workspace. And if all's good, you'll probably come to a blank screen. I don't think I can actually show it to you. Yes, it will probably look, if it loads. There it is. Oh, well, that's cute. So it'll probably look something a little like that. This is a bit new to me, but in general, this is all that you'll have to do to get prepped to do Java programming. With this new version of Eclipse and all the languages that I can write in, I've got a little bit more work to do. But in a coming video, we'll talk about installing the Eclipse plugins for FRC, as well as installing the driver station utilities and all the things that come with that, because the driver station utilities house the RoboRio imaging tool, which we'll talk about a little bit, and it also has all the driver station software, configurations for cameras, and all kinds of good stuff. So this is the end of this video. If at some point or another in the video you got stuck, if you had an issue while you were trying to install something, please let me know. Well, I don't necessarily need you guys to all be able to write code while we're doing this, while we're doing the sessions. There will come a point where I am going to want to see you guys playing around with some of this stuff, so I want to make sure that you have an environment that you can use that actually works. And as we get closer to that point, I will probably make mention that, at the next session, please bring a computer with the Eclipse installation and the Java JDK already done. That way we can deal with any issues that arise in the moment. But other than that, I don't have anything else for this tutorial. Like I said, questions, please let me know. In terms of next meeting, it looks like some of you are at the very least going to go to summer heat, so we obviously won't have anything this week because I'm also working. But I will post something later in the week when I know my schedule. We will probably do something on Saturday again. And that's it.